Welcome to the Curious Room. Come on in.
It's really good to be here.
Usually when we start these deep dives, we jump right into the deep end.
Yeah, head first.
Right. We rush from task to task, thought to thought, just throwing information out there. But this room, the whole concept of the Curious Room is a little different.
It is. It's a place to slow down.
Exactly. A place to take a breath.
A mental space where we can kind of just put down the heavy things we've been carrying around all week and just look at them.
Yeah.
Without judgment, without needing to fix anything right away, just to understand them.
So to you, the listener, wherever you are right now, maybe you're driving on a highway or, I don't know, folding laundry.
Or just sitting in a quiet corner with your headphones on.
Right. I want to invite you to just settle in, take a deep breath, let your shoulders drop a little bit.
It's a safe space today.
It really is. We're going to talk about something today that touches almost everyone, but strangely, it's something we almost never talk about out loud.
It's the ultimate elephant in the room, the one everyone pretends isn't there.
Right. And here is the hook, the central paradox we want to explore today. I want you to picture this scene. You are at a dinner party.
Okay.
Or maybe a busy office or a big family gathering. There is noise everywhere.
Lots of energy.
People are talking, glasses are clinking, someone is laughing at a joke right behind you. You are physically surrounded by people. You could reach out and touch 3 different people without even standing up.
Extremely high density.
High density, yes. And yet you feel completely, utterly by yourself.
Yeah.
It's not just that you're bored. It's much deeper than that. You feel a profound sense of isolation.
Like you're on an island.
Exactly.
Huh.
And then you ask yourself, how does this make sense? If loneliness is the absence of people, why do I feel lonely when people are everywhere?
That is the core question, isn't it? Why does the presence of others sometimes make us feel more alone, not less?
It's baffling.
And it's a heavy topic. I want to acknowledge that right up front. If you're feeling a little tender today listening to this, that is completely okay.
Absolutely.
But I also want to say, we aren't here to diagnose you.
No, not at all.
We aren't here to give you a lecture on social skills or tell you to just go get out there more. We are simply here to explore this feeling.
To hold it up to the light.
Right, and see what it's made of. Because, surprisingly, just understanding the mechanics of this feeling can actually make it way less scary.
We're calling this feeling the quiet ache. And we're going to walk through it together. Slow and steady.
I love that term, the quiet ache.
So let's unpack this. When we say loneliness in a crowd, what are we actually talking about? Because it doesn't feel the same as just being home alone on a Friday night, does it?
No, it's a completely different flavor.
How so?
Well, when you are physically alone, say, in your house, the silence makes sense. Your brain understands it. No one is there, so it's quiet.
Right. The environment matches the feeling.
Exactly. But when you are with people and you still feel lonely, it creates this dissonance, a conflict.
Like your brain can't reconcile what it sees with what it actually feels inside.
Precisely. Let's try to really name this feeling. It's rarely a sharp stabbing pain.
No, it's dull.
Yes, it's softer. It's a background hum, a small weight sitting right in the center of your chest. It's that feeling of looking through a window at a party you are actually attending.
Oh, wow. Looking through a window at a party you're actually attending. That is such a vivid image.
It happens so often.
It feels like you're a ghost, like you're hovering slightly above the conversation, just watching it happen without being part of it.
Yes. And we call it a quiet ache because we generally suffer in silence.
We don't announce it.
Right. You don't turn to the person next to you at the dinner table mid-bite and say, hey, I feel incredibly isolated right now.
That would really kill the mood.
Exactly. You smile, you nod, you chew your food, so the ache just stays quiet.
I think we need to distinguish between 2 things here. There is physical distance, and then there is emotional distance.
That is the crucial distinction to make. Physical distance is completely objective. You can measure it in feet or meters.
Sure.
But emotional distance is entirely subjective. It is measured in connection. You can be 0 feet away from someone physically. I mean, you could literally be hugging them.
Right.
But if you don't feel seen, if you don't feel understood, the emotional distance can feel like 1,000 miles.
It's the difference between proximity and intimacy.
Exactly. Proximity is just geography.
Right.
It just means bodies in a shared space.
Like being packed into a subway car?
Yes. Perfect example. Intimacy, or true connection, is about the transmission of the self. It's about the real you being received and accepted by someone else.
Feeling known.
Right. When you're in a crowd, You have extremely high proximity, but often very, very low connection.
I'm thinking of a specific scenario right now, just walking through a busy city street.
Okay, set the scene.
Let's say Manhattan or London or Tokyo. Thousands of faces are rushing past you. It's just this massive sea of humanity.
Shoulders bumping.
Yeah, but no one looks at you. Or if they do, they kind of look right through you to check the traffic light behind your head.
Right. You're an obstacle, not a person.
Exactly. And in that moment, surrounded by millions of people, you can feel smaller and more alone than you would if you were standing totally by yourself in the middle of a desert.
That is a perfect example. In a desert, you are alone with nature. The isolation makes sense.
Right.
In the city crowd, you are alone against the noise. The contrast is what highlights the isolation.
The contrast makes it sharper.
But let's bring it even closer to home. Let's make it more personal.
Okay, let's do it.
Think about sitting on a couch. Maybe it's with a partner, a spouse, or your absolute best friend.
Very relatable.
You are sitting right next to each other. The TV is playing something in the background. You are both just endlessly scrolling on your phones.
The classic modern evening.
Right. You are physically touching even. Maybe your knees are brushing against each other on the cushions. But your mind is in one world, scrolling through your feed, and their mind is in a totally different world.
Oh, that really hits home. You can sense that distance. It feels like there's a thick glass wall that just sort of slid down right between the cushions.
And that glass wall is exactly what we were talking about. The body is there, present and accounted for. But the spirit,
The real them.
the part of you that laughs and cries and has dreams, that part feels completely invisible.
Yeah.
And feeling invisible when you are right in front of someone you love is a very specific, very heavy kind of hurt.
It's almost worse than being actually alone, because when you're alone in an empty room, you don't expect to be seen.
Right. There's no expectation.
But when you're with someone, especially someone close to you, the whole expectation is connection. And when that expectation isn't met, it stings.
It creates a massive gap. And into that gap flows this feeling, this quiet ache.
It fills the empty space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I want to pause on the word ache for a second.
Oh, okay.
We treat loneliness like an emotion, like it's just a flavor of sadness. But biologically speaking, it's actually much closer to hunger or thirst.
Wait, hunger. You mean like a physical bodily need?
Yes. If you look at human biology and how we evolved, loneliness is an alarm system.
Like a check engine light.
Exactly that. Think about early humans. If you were separated from your tribe out on the savannah, what happened to you?
You got eaten by something.
You died. Being alone was physically, objectively dangerous. So the human brain evolved a mechanism to warn you when you were drifting too far from the safety of the group.
That makes total sense.
That mechanism is social pain. It activates the exact same parts of your brain as physical injury.
Wait, really? The same parts?
Yes. So when we say it hurts to be lonely, we aren't just being poetic. Your brain is literally registering a threat to your physical survival.
Wow. That explains the anxiety that comes with it. That weird hypervigilance you feel when you're left out.
Exactly. Your body goes into a full stress response. Cortisol spikes. Your heart rate might go up. You start scanning the room for threats.
Because your body thinks a tiger's in the bushes.
Right. Now take that primitive biological mechanism, the one screaming, I am alone, I'm in danger, and drop it right into the middle of a modern cocktail party.
Oh, man. That is a total recipe for disaster.
It creates a massive internal conflict.
Yeah.
Your biology is screaming at you to reconnect, find your people, you are unsafe.
In the social environment.
The social environment is saying, relax, have a little drink, make some small talk about the weather.
So the quiet ache is essentially the sound of that conflict happening in real time. It's the background hum of a primal alarm that you are desperately trying to ignore.
Precisely. And that immense effort, the effort it takes to ignore the survival alarm and just act normal, is where all the exhaustion comes from.
That leads us perfectly into the next layer of this, the exhaustion.
It's a huge factor.
Because I've noticed that if I spend a night at a party feeling this way, feeling disconnected, I come home more tired than if I had run a marathon.
Physical fatigue.
Yeah. Why does it drain us so much to just stand there and hold a drink?
That leads us straight to the idea of the mask, or, the performance.
The performance. Tell me more about that. How are we performing?
Well, humans are deeply social creatures, and we have all these complex social rules, and one of the biggest unwritten rules of any social gathering is simply be pleasant.
Right. Don't bring the mood down. Be a good guest.
Exactly. So if you are feeling this internal ache, this blaring alarm of loneliness. You can't just let that show on your face.
No, people would back away slowly.
They would. You have to manufacture an expression that matches the vibe of the room. You have to smile when your body doesn't feel like smiling.
You have to laugh at jokes that aren't funny.
You have to say, "I'm doing great," with total enthusiasm when someone asks.
And that takes actual energy.
It takes an immense amount of cognitive and emotional energy. It is actual work. You are essentially acting a role on stage for 2, 3, maybe 4 hours straight.
No wonder we crash afterwards.
That is exactly why you feel so exhausted. You aren't just socializing. You are actively sustaining an illusion.
It's like holding a beach ball underwater.
I love that analogy.
You can do it, but your arms are tensed up the entire time. As soon as you let your focus slip, it pops right back up to the surface. But you absolutely cannot let it pop up and splash everyone at the dinner table.
That is exactly what it feels like. The tension is constant. And we have to stop and ask ourselves, why do we hold the ball down in the first place?
Yeah.
Why do we put the mask on so tightly?
I think, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself here, but I think it's fear.
Go on. Tell me about the fear.
I think we are deeply afraid that if we actually drop the mask, if we let the beach ball pop up, we'll just be a massive burden to everyone around us.
Yes, the fear of being too much or too heavy for people to handle.
Exactly. We look around the room and everyone else seems so light, so breezy, so perfectly happy.
And we compare our insides to their outsides.
Right. And we worry that if we show our quiet ache, we will single-handedly ruin the moment. We don't want to be the dark rain cloud floating over the picnic.
So we hide to protect the people around us.
Partly to protect them, yes. I don't want to bring my friends down. But I think it's also to protect ourselves from rejection.
That's the core of it. Rejection.
Because if I show you my real sadness, my real loneliness, and you get weirded out and turn away, that would hurt 1,000 times more than just hiding it.
It would be devastating.
So we hide, we lock it away. But here is the real tragedy of that whole cycle.
What's the tragedy?
We hide to protect ourselves from being rejected, but hiding is the exact thing that makes us feel completely invisible.
Yes.
And feeling invisible is what fuels the loneliness. So the very thing we are doing to fit in wearing the happy mask is the thing that guarantees we won't ever truly connect with anyone.
It's a perfect trap. It is a closed feedback loop and is completely driven by what we call the happy pressure.
The happy pressure. I feel like I know what that means, but break it down for us.
Look anywhere in our culture. Look at social media feeds. Look at television commercials. Look at the casual ways we greet each other in the morning. Good vibes only.
Live, laugh, love.
Exactly. There is this tremendous, suffocating societal pressure to constantly be fun, to be easygoing, and to project endless positivity.
It's mandatory optimism.
Yes. So when you look around a room and everyone seems to be perfectly obeying that pressure,
Yeah.
everyone is laughing, everyone looks like they are having the absolute time of their lives, you start to feel like the odd one out.
You feel like a defect on the factory assembly line. Like everyone else got the basic happiness manual and somehow my copy got lost in the mail.
Right. And that thought transforms the loneliness. It changes it from a simple, natural feeling into a personal failure.
Oh, that's dangerous.
You start thinking, what is fundamentally wrong with me? Why can't I just be normal and enjoy this party like a normal person?
So now you aren't just feeling lonely.
Oh, now you are lonely and deeply ashamed.
That is such a toxic combination. Loneliness plus shame. It just makes you want to crawl into a hole and never come out.
It does.
Yes.
And here's where it gets really interesting, where we can start to dismantle this entire structure of shame is built on a massive false assumption.
A false assumption. Okay, tell me what it is.
It's the assumption that everyone else in that room is actually as happy as they look.
Okay, this is the pivot. This is the moment for you, the listener, where we have to shift our perspective entirely.
Pay attention to this part.
We are standing in this crowded room feeling like the absolute only lonely person in the entire world. But you're saying we might be completely wrong about that.
I am saying that the odds are overwhelmingly high that you are wrong. And this brings us to the core concept of shared loneliness.
Shared loneliness. It sounds like an oxymoron. If a feeling is shared with someone else, is it still loneliness?
That is the beautiful paradox of it. Let's go back to that room. The dinner party. You look at the person sitting across the table from you.
Okay.
They are telling a very funny story. They seem super confident. They're smiling, gesturing with their hands.
They seem like they have it all together.
But what if, underneath that incredibly polished performance, they're also secretly wondering if anyone at the table actually likes them?
Wow.
What if they are also completely exhausted from holding their own beach ball underwater?
It's the idea that everyone is fighting a hard battle we know absolutely nothing about.
Yes. But specifically regarding the desire for connection, there is a very, very high chance that the person standing right next to you at the buffet line is also craving a deeper connection. But they're just too afraid to drop their mask, exactly like you are.
So we literally have a room full of people who all desperately want connection, but they are all pretending they don't need it, so absolutely nobody gets it.
Exactly. It's a tragic comedy. We are all starving for the exact same thing, standing right next to each other in the room. But we can't see it because the masks are in the way.
I love the analogy of the apartment building here. I think it makes this so clear. Can you walk us through that one?
Of course. Imagine a very large apartment building at night. It's totally dark outside. You are sitting in your living room in the dark, just looking out the window.
Okay, I see it.
You see the massive building right across the street. All the lights in all those windows are turned off. And you think to yourself, everyone over there must be asleep. Everyone is so peaceful. I must be the only person awake in this whole city with all my worries.
Right. I'm the only weirdo staring into the dark at 2 a.m.
But what if, in that building across the street, in every single one of those dark windows, there's someone sitting in the dark looking right back at your building thinking the exact same thing?
Look at that building. Everyone is asleep but me. That actually gives me goosebumps. We are all awake. We are all looking out the window. But because we're all sitting in the dark, we just assume we're completely alone.
That is the essence of shared loneliness. We are lonely together. We are experiencing the exact same human ache simultaneously.
And simply knowing that, just opening your mind to that possibility, it completely changes the energy of the room.
It changes everything. This phenomenon actually has a specific name in social psychology. It's called pluralistic ignorance.
Pluralistic ignorance. Okay, let's break that down for the listener. What does that mean in plain English?
It's what happens when a majority of people in a group privately reject a certain rule or norm, but they incorrectly assume that everyone else accepts it.
So they just go along with it anyway to fit in.
Exactly. So putting it in our context, I feel lonely, but I look at you and assume you are perfectly happy.
And I feel lonely, but I look at you and assume you are perfectly happy.
Right. So we both decide to pretend to be happy, which just reinforces the lie for both of us.
It's a mass hallucination. We're all collaborating to create this fake reality that none of us actually even believe in or feel.
Exactly. And the moment you realize that, the entire illusion starts to crack.
It really does break the spell when you put it that way. If I walk into a room and know that you might be lonely too, suddenly you aren't this intimidating, perfect, happy person that I have to perform for. You're just a person, a flawed human.
It dramatically softens the room. It humanizes the crowd. Instead of seeing this impenetrable wall of happy faces that completely excludes you, you start to see a collection of fragile individuals who are all carrying their own version of the quiet ache.
I want to try a quick mental exercise with the listener right now if we can.
Nice. Let's do it.
Okay. Listener, I want you to bring to mind a recent time you were in a group setting. Maybe it was a staff meeting, classroom, or just a family dinner last weekend.
Get the picture clear in your head.
Visualize the faces around the table. Now, I want you to pick one person. Pick the person who seemed the absolute most confident, the loudest one, the one who was holding court.
The life of the party.
Right. Now, mentally, paint a little thought bubble right over their head. And in that bubble, write the words, I hope they really like me. Or maybe, I feel a little bit invisible today.
Just hold that specific image for a second. Does it change how you feel about them?
For me, doing that immediately makes me feel so much more compassionate toward them. And honestly, way less afraid of them.
Compassion is the ultimate antidote to isolation. When you realize that someone else might be hurting in the exact same way you are, your internal focus shifts.
How does it shift?
It shifts away from, how do I look to these people? And moves toward, I wonder how they're feeling right now.
That is profound.
And that shift, moving from self-consciousness to gentle curiosity, is the very first step to walking out of the ache.
Moving from how do I look to how do they feel. That's really the whole key to the curious room, isn't it?
It is. It's choosing to look outward with empathy rather than looking inward with harsh judgment.
Well, let's play devil's advocate for just a second here, because this all sounds great in theory.
Go for it.
We're at this party. We realize everyone is human. We put our empathy hats on. We start talking to people. Why is it that even when we do talk, we sometimes still walk away feeling lonely?
It's a great question.
Because I can have a solid 20-minute conversation with a coworker at a mixer and walk to my car feeling completely empty. Why doesn't just the act of talking fix the problem?
Because communication and connection are not the same thing.
At all. Explain that.
We very often confuse giving updates with making a connection.
Updates. Like the evening news.
Like a personal status report.
Yeah.
Think about a typical party conversation. How's work? Good, we're super busy. How's the weather where you are? Oh, raining all week. Did you catch that new movie? Yeah, it was decent.
Right, that's 90% of small talk.
We are just exchanging neutral data points. We are trading little information cards.
It stays strictly on the surface level.
It is polite. And in linguistics, this kind of exchange is actually called phatic communication.
Phatic communication. That's a new term for me.
Yes. It means speech that is used purely to perform a basic social function, rather than to actually convey meaningful information.
Give me an example.
When I walk past you in a hall and say, "How are you?" and you say, "Fine, thanks," we aren't having a medical exchange about your health data.
Right, if I start listing my back pain, you'd be horrified.
Exactly. We are just verbally acknowledging each other's physical presence in the hallway. It's the verbal equivalent of a handshake. It's polite, and most importantly, it is completely safe.
It's designed to be safe. It has no sharp edges.
Right. So politeness is wonderful for keeping things smooth in society, but it also fundamentally keeps people distant.
It maintains the barrier.
Exactly. It keeps that glass wall firmly in place. You could exchange 10,000 words of polite, safe updates with someone over a year and never once let the other person see who you really are.
So to actually connect, to make the quiet ache finally go away, we have to go past the updates. We have to go deeper.
We have to risk vulnerability. And that is exactly why connecting is so much harder than just talking.
The V word. Vulnerability. People hate that word because it's terrifying.
It is genuinely terrifying because to be vulnerable means you have to deliberately drop the mask. It means saying something that isn't just an automated update.
It means sharing an actual feeling.
Yes. And the risk is real.
The risk is, what if it gets incredibly awkward?
Yes. The fear of that dreaded awkward silence.
Yeah.
The fear that you will take a deep breath and say, "Honestly, I've been having a really tough week," and the other person will just freeze, say, "Oh, wow," and awkwardly look for the nearest exit.
That is a very real fear. It happens.
It does happen. People don't always know how to react. But if we never take that risk, we guarantee that we stay trapped behind the glass wall forever.
The ache just stays there.
Exactly. The quiet ache absolutely thrives on silence and safety. It grows bigger when we play it safe. Speaking about it, even just a tiny bit, is like opening a window and letting some fresh air into a stuffy room.
It breaks the tension.
And here is where another really fascinating psychological concept comes into play. It's called the beautiful mess effect.
The beautiful mess effect. I already love the sound of that. What is it?
It's a proven finding that shows a massive blind spot in how we judge each other. We consistently view other people's vulnerability as courageous and authentic.
Okay.
But we view our own exact same vulnerability as a weakness or a sign of inadequacy.
Wait, really? So there's a complete double standard playing out in our heads?
A huge one. Think about it. If you were at a party and someone you barely knew admitted to you that they were feeling a little lonely in the crowd, what would you think of them?
I'd think, wow, they are so brave and real for saying that. I'd instantly like them more.
Exactly. But if you think about doing that yourself, what does your brain tell you?
My brain says, don't do it. You'll look pathetic and needy.
Boom. That's the beautiful mess effect. We judge ourselves by a totally different, totally unforgiving rule book than the one we use for everyone else.
So we're literally our own worst enemies here.
We are.
Yeah.
And just realizing that people actually want to see your messy truth, they respect it, is incredibly liberating.
But let me ask you this. Does it have to be a big, dramatic movie moment? Do I have to stand on a chair in the middle of the restaurant and scream, "I am lonely," to get this connection?
No, absolutely not. Please don't do that. That would probably be counterproductive.
I figured.
It doesn't take grand gestures. It's about small moments of truth. You can call them micro bridges.
Micro bridges. Give me an example of a micro bridge in real life.
It could be as simple as slightly changing your default answer to "How are you?"
Instead of saying, "I'm good."
Right. Instead of the automatic "good," you could pause and say, "I'm a little tired today, actually. It's been a really long week."
That's a very small shift, but it's honest.
It's highly honest. And more importantly, it gives the other person silent permission to be honest too.
Oh, I see.
They might hear you say that, relax their shoulders, and say, oh man, me too.
Yeah.
I am completely exhausted.
And suddenly the dynamic shifts.
Suddenly the glass wall cracks. You aren't just two flawless, successful avatars trading data points anymore. You are two tired, real humans relating to each other. That is a real connection.
It's like extending an olive branch of reality.
Yes. Or maybe it's not even spoken words at all. Maybe it's just a look.
Just eye contact.
A look of genuine understanding. Or, consider this, just sitting quietly with someone.
We did talk about how silence can be awkward.
It can be. But shared, comfortable silence can also be beautiful. If you were sitting on the couch with a friend, and neither of you feels the desperate need to fill every single second with meaningless noise.
That is a deep form of connection.
It really is.
Yeah.
It communicates something profound. It says, I'm completely comfortable just existing in this space with you, no performance required.
That sounds so peaceful, just being present without the song and dance.
It is peaceful, but it absolutely requires us to make the choice to stop performing.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've identified what the ache feels like, we've examined the heavy mask we all wear, and we've realized that pretty much everyone else is secretly wearing one too.
Yes.
Now comes the million-dollar question, the part the listener's probably waiting for. How do we permanently fix it? How do we make this lonely feeling go away for good?
I'm going to have to stop you right there.
Uh-oh. Did I say the wrong thing?
Well, the goal isn't always to fix it. And it is certainly not to make it go away for good.
Why not? Isn't that what we all want?
Because loneliness is a fundamental part of the human condition. It is exactly like hunger. You don't eat a huge dinner and then get angry the next day when you feel hungry again.
You don't expect to be full forever.
Exactly. You don't have one deep conversation and expect to never feel lonely again for the rest of your life. It's a recurring cycle.
Okay, that is actually a massive relief to hear. Because if the goal of life is to never feel lonely, I am failing at life every single day.
Most people would feel that way, which is why the healthiest approach is a slow approach, not an aggressive, frantic, fix-it strategy. It's an approach of acceptance.
Acceptance over fixing. What does that actually look like in practice, out in the real world?
It looks like making peace with the feeling when it arrives. When that quiet ache shows up in your chest at the holiday party, instead of panicking, instead of thinking, oh no, I'm a loser, or I need to drink 3 more cocktails to be fun.
You just stop and acknowledge it.
You simply say, okay, here it is. I'm feeling a bit lonely right now. And that is completely okay. It is a normal human feeling.
You essentially treat it like a visitor.
Yes, a visitor showing up at the door of the curious room. You don't have to slam the door in its face. You don't have to let it come in to trash your house. You just let it sit there in the chair.
And we can use that gentle curiosity we talked about at the beginning. Instead of violently fighting the feeling, we can just ask it some questions.
Exactly. Turn toward it and ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me right now?
Like checking the dashboard light.
Right. Maybe the feeling is simply telling you that you are physically drained and you need to go home and sleep. That is a completely valid, healthy response.
That is a huge one for me. Sometimes I think I'm having an existential crisis of loneliness, but really my body is just saying, dude, you have 0 social battery left. Please put me in pajamas.
Yes. We misinterpret fatigue as emotional isolation all the time.
What else could the visitor be telling us?
Well, maybe it's telling you that you are just bored. Maybe you need a different kind of conversation. Maybe you've been doing polite small talk for 2 hours, and your brain is starved for depth.
So the ache is a signal telling you to pivot.
Exactly. It's a gentle nudge to go find just one person in the room, pull them aside, and ask a real, genuine question.
So the ache isn't an enemy trying to destroy our night. It's just a signal.
It is purely information. It is your internal compass letting you know that your basic human need for connection isn't being met in this specific moment. That's all it is. It is not a permanent judgment on your personality or your worth.
This naturally brings us to the idea of self-compassion. I really feel like this is the glue that holds all of these concepts together.
It is absolutely essential. If you take nothing else away from this, take this. We are so brutally hard on ourselves when we feel disconnected.
We really are. We beat ourselves up. We tell ourselves we should be more popular, more outgoing. We should be funnier.
Look at everyone else having so much fun. Why can't you just be easy breezy like them?
That is exactly the voice in my head.
And that voice is a liar. Because, as we've established today, everyone else is likely struggling with their own mask too. So self-compassion means deliberately changing that internal voice.
Changing the script.
It means actively saying to yourself, it makes total sense that I feel this way right now. It's loud in here. I don't know many people very well, and I had a hard week. It is logical that I feel disconnected.
It's treating yourself with the exact same kindness you would automatically offer a good friend.
Think about it. If your best friend came up to you at a party, pulled you aside, and whispered, I feel really out of place and lonely right now, would you yell at them?
No.
Would you tell them they are broken and pathetic?
Of course not. I would give them a hug. I'd say, honestly, me too. Let's go find a quiet corner or go grab a slice of pizza somewhere else.
So why on earth do we yell at ourselves when we feel the exact same way? Be that supportive friend to your own mind. Be polite to your own ache.
Be polite to your own ache. I really, really like that phrasing. It takes all the violence out of the struggle. It stops being a battle you have to win. It's just life.
It is just life. It's the weather of the mind. And remember this too. The ache itself is absolute proof that you have depth.
Wait, say a little more about that. That sounds important.
If you did not care about deep, meaningful connection, you wouldn't feel the painful lack of it.
Oh, wow.
The very fact that you feel lonely in a shallow crowd means that you have a deep capacity for intimacy. You have a profound desire for something real. That is a beautiful trait.
It reframes the whole thing.
It's not a weakness at all. It is a sign that your heart is working exactly as it should.
That is a gorgeous reframe. The ache isn't a flaw. The ache is a compliment to your capacity for love.
Perfectly said.
Exactly. So as we start to slowly close the door on the curious room for today, let's recap the journey we've been on together.
It's been a lot to process.
We started with that strange, confusing paradox. The feeling of being totally surrounded by people, yet feeling completely alone.
We identified it as the quiet ache, that background hum of feeling invisible. And we validated it as a natural biological alarm signal, not some sort of character defect.
Right. Then we talked about the pure exhaustion of wearing the mask. The heavy emotional labor of pretending to be perfectly fine when we really aren't.
And we saw how that performance actually builds the glass wall that keeps us isolated.
Then came the big perspective shift. We realized that this is a shared experience, that the crowded room is likely full of people doing the exact same exhausting performance.
We are all neighbors, sitting in the dark, looking at each other's unlit windows, completely trapped in pluralistic ignorance.
We learned that real connection is much harder than just casual talking because it requires the genuine risk of vulnerability.
But we also learned that even tiny moments, those little micro bridges of honesty, can be enough to crack the glass wall.
And finally, we learned the most comforting thing of all. We don't have to fix the loneliness immediately.
We can just accept it as a visitor. We can be curious about what it's trying to tell us. And above all, we can be kind to ourselves when it happens.
It has been quite a profound journey for such a quiet little room.
It really has been.
I want to leave the listener with one final thought to take with them into the rest of their week. Something to just mull over.
Go for it.
Next time you find yourself in a crowd, whether it's riding on a packed bus, sitting in a boring staff meeting, or standing by the chips at a loud party, take a moment to just stop.
Pause.
Really look at the faces around you and ask yourself this question. What if the person standing right next to me is just waiting for someone to be the very first one to drop the mask?
What if they are desperate for just one single moment of realness?
And what if that someone could be you?
That is an incredibly powerful question to carry. It puts the agency right back in your hands. You don't have to wait around to be seen by the room. You can choose to be the one who sees.
Exactly. Maybe the ultimate cure for loneliness isn't about figuring out how to get people to look at you. Maybe it's about you taking a breath, looking at them, and finally seeing the quiet ache that we all share.
Beautifully put.
Thank you so much for sitting in the Curious Room with us today.
It was an absolute pleasure to explore this with you.
Take care of yourself out there. And remember, even in the quietest moments, you aren't nearly as alone as you think you are.
Goodbye for now.